from Life Check Yourself and Screw This Should Life. And I'm super excited to be here talking about the one decision that women usually put off. So I'm excited. We're going to talk about today um, why smart women keep putting this one decision off, or they don't execute. They've made the decision to do something, but they don't actually do it. And we're going to talk about how do you finally stop circling. My goal is to help you feel why staying stuck is going to not just keep you stuck, but actually take you further and further away from your vision or your dream or your ideal. And also how it could feel different with support. So I want you to think about one decision or one action that you keep thinking about. So this decision could be mixed in like in a cocktail with some procrastination or some avoidance, but it's a one decision. It could also be a dissatisfaction or a longing for a shift or change, and you're not even at the decision point, but you just know something isn't right and you don't know what to do about it. You don't know how to shift it. But I want you to really think in terms of what is the thing late at night that you're tossing and turning about when you walk into your house or into your office, or there's some trigger thing that just like, it just hits you. Maybe it's between meetings or an especially bad meeting, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're in the shower, maybe anytime you're just not doing something. If that is relevant, resonating for you, then absolutely this live is for you. And so welcome. I want to make sure you understand like my job as a coach. I've been in the coaching industry for 16 years. I'm not a flash in the pan guru wannabe. I've been helping women, a certification from the Coach Training Institute. I have a lot of credentials and blah, blah, blah. I wrote a book that was published by Hay House. All that, don't care really. Except that I just want you to know more important than anything is that I have walked the pain of being at different points in my life and having to make really big decisions, even when it was very much inconvenient, and navigated through them with a structure and a process to create a life beyond what I could imagine, living life on my own terms. So for you, I want you to understand, I'm like not here just to motivate you. I'm not here to pressure you. This is really about giving you some insights so you can stop the loop. And I'm really excited because Friday, I'm going to be having a conversation live with someone who's actually just gone through this. You can also see how it applies to like lots of other people in different situations. Okay, so for now, tell me how many of you just type like the word here or yes in the comments if there's something you keep revisiting or circling and you haven't either decided yet or you have not taken action on. It always helps when I can see any comments and kind of know where you're at. That's always super fun. So if there is something specific that you're circling, I can absolutely help you with that, but please put it in the chat or in the comments. So let's first talk about what I call the loop. So in order to shift something, you have to reveal it. You have to dismantle it. You have to see it. You have to have awareness. You have to notice what you're noticing. And when we have a idea of what we want to do, then because we're stuck, the only way I found to really get out of it is to start seeing the patterns and start to shift it. So let's look at it in terms of this. And I wonder, actually, I don't know, I'm going to go crazy. I think, can you screen share? Can we? No, not really in the same way. Okay. So I want you to think about it like this. There is the thought, right? There's the thought. And then what happens is usually we're like, I need more information, because there's that part of your brain, the amygdala, that needs to feel safe. And it believes that with information, it will create certainty. I've been saying this a lot. I saw it on Substack. Certainty is for suckers. So what happens is we do research. We can, especially now with AI, like you can go down this ChatGPT tunnel where it'll keep saying, do you want this? Do you want that? And you might have like 27 businesses all laid out. Right. But then you don't make the decision to do it. So what happens is we wait. We don't do anything. We procrastinate or we avoid. And then we feel pretty guilty, or we feel shame, or beat ourselves up, or we get distracted. We did a workshop over the weekend, and a lot of people talked about all the different ways they avoid making a decision, by people pleasing, over functioning, by being perfectionistic, right? Like so many of these internal pieces that we want to shift to create a new identity, they show up, right? So we have a thought, we get into action. We're trying to bypass the feeling, bypass the real problem. We don't execute. And then the internal monologue starts. And then we get distracted. And then there's a trigger, a pain point, something we don't love, a bad meeting at work, fight with the boyfriend, whatever it is, the husband, and then it repeats. So most people who are avoiding, they're not avoiding because they're bad. They're afraid of destabilizing a life that mostly works. Okay. So it looks like, well, what if I ruin something that's not that bad? What if this makes everything harder for me? What if I can't go back? So I want you to understand, thinking harder isn't helping. This isn't helping you make a decision or take action, because you're really smart. So in order to take action, even the smallest of action, we have to feel safe, right? When we get clear, we have to feel safe. And in order to feel certain, we have to trust ourselves. And honestly, if I could bottom line it for the people that are listening, this is really a thing about self-trust. Your nervous system, I know you think your nervous system needs the right answer, but what your nervous system really needs is this knowledge that you're going to be okay no matter what you choose. And that's why journaling, it like helps, but it doesn't really hold anything, right? Or you make a decision by yourself, and then under pressure from external things, it just crashes, right? That loop cycles. So I want you to think about it. Like, if you had this decision that you are dealing with, or this thing that you're avoiding, the first thing, because I want to really get to this point of the self-trust, is like, where is it living in your body? Can you feel it? Like, I know for me, I have a decision to make about something that I'm engaged in, that I volunteer in, that feels really misaligned right now. And so when I think about that thing, I'm like, it lives right in my chest. For some of you, it might be your throat or your belly, your neck, your shoulders, between your eyes, your head. So now think about like, okay, if I took this action and it wasn't forever, what would I do? And honestly, when I say that out loud to you and I think of my own situation, I think I'm just sort of I wish a circumstance would be different. If it would be different, then I would not feel misaligned. So I'm kind of waiting for things to change. Um, right? So think about that. Like if you remove the like forever of this action, like what happens? What's like one honest thing that is true for you that can help you understand what you're really afraid of or scared of? Right? For me, it's like, oh God, what will other people think? Will I damage relationships that I have? I go into like, oh, is it even worth it? Just write it out, right? So the truth is, in my example of this volunteer thing I'm doing, like if I could make a decision to not do it and it wouldn't have to be forever, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm just going to take a break and come back in like a year, when I would probably do it. I wouldn't have as big of a fear of doing it. So what does that mean? It means that I had that clarity and I felt safe in that. And so now I can look at like, I want it to change. I want the system or circumstance to change. So then we can go into actually like looking at, well, what are some experiments that I can do to start testing that, right? Not just waiting, because just waiting feels like crap. All right. So we're going to be really short today, but I want you to understand is that the big picture thing you're avoiding, you're not doing, the decision you're not making, we want to actually get to the truth of the clarity that comes from being nervous nervous system regulation vibes, that kind of safe, not just in your head. And if we remove certainty and we know that we'll never be certain, then what are the steps we can take to get to certainty? Through action, through structure, through creating self trust, through doing all these internal pieces, which is why I have decided to actually create a lab, like a laboratory, to help people walk through the structure of decision. So, what you may or may not know is there actually is this science and an art to decision making, the way the brain works. A lot of things around memory and past experiences, logic. So, we're going to combine decision science with spirituality and truth. And we're going to kind of mix those into the design thinking model out of Stanford. And we're going to actually come up with a process. Well, I'm going to teach you my process so that you can actually start taking action. Because once you're in action, I just had a client who's doing this, changing some things in her business. And she's like, wow, I'm being creative. I wake up every morning and I'm like, just through going through and approaching my challenges from a different lens through this process, um, is making me feel excited about change, not terrified. And she said, because I trust myself, I have more faith. I have a process. So, what we talked about today is like solving one problem. It's like really understanding this avoidance, this inability, this loop from a different angle. And I hope that I helped you get some clarity on the decision that's draining you. And just even if you have a moment, I know for me, when I did this exercise with you, like just being like, okay, it's not forever. Huh. Like it was crystal clear what I want to do, what I'm afraid to do. Um, so what happened though is like, so what? I have that aha, right? So it doesn't stabilize the decision and figure out how to execute it in a way in which I continue to feel safe, and also when the pressure of external forces come rushing back into our head, because there's that moment of clarity and then it evaporates. So I decided to create this laboratory, a 2-day lab where we're going to bring our decisions, our challenges, our procrastination, our avoidances into the lab. And for 2 90-minute sessions on February 3rd and 4th, with a small group of women, we're going to actually create uh, a, a, what do you call it? A matrix, a metric, a decision tree. We're going to go through the process about how you can start moving forward and take action. It'll feel so good. You will start feeling so confident, so proud. You will have made moves in the new year, and you will automatically be shifting your identity into a person of action. And you'll also get data about what the thing is that you want to do so that you can assess and you can adjust and you can be in the creation of your life. And that's so exciting. This isn't about blowing up your life. It's about learning a new way to live an intentional designed life and actually get into action. So the Decision Lab is $397, but for the first 10 women who are either on a live or came to the workshop who choose, there's a 25% decision credit, I'm calling it, and that'll bring it to $297. So it's just a reward for being decisive and practice flexing that decisive muscle. We're going to put the link to that in the comments. But what I want you to understand is this. Everyone thinks the work is figuring out what you want, like the A or the B, the X or the Y, right? That's last. The real work is learning how to choose yourself and create self-trust and actually create a container for courage to start actually implementing in your life. So if you're ready to stop circling and you actually want support getting into action on your decision and making a decision and getting that clarity, put decision, you can spell it any way you want, in the comment. We'll follow up if you have questions, or you could just click the link and join us. This was a shorty for a Tuesday. We are experimenting with time of day and length and topic, but this one has been really heavy on our hearts for the last couple of weeks, and we're going to continue to talk about it this week. Thank you for being here. Remember, in all ways and always, your life is your responsibility. So make sure that you life check yourself. See you soon. Screw the should life. Bye-bye for now.